feature presentation.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and to talk about Bird. It's such a special little movie, but I wanted to start off with a serious question. If you could play any song for a toad, what song would that be and why?
Oh, what Barry played, didn't it? What was it called? Cold? No, no, no. Yellow by Coldplay.
Yes.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of those things where like music plays such an important role in this film. And I was curious, did either of you get a playlist beforehand because the music is such an integral part? And was there anything music-wise that you look to in terms of your own characters?
Yeah, definitely. Before every scene, I'd take myself away and listen to music, and that's how I'd get in the mood and in the mood for that specific scene. So, for example, if I'd have to like have energy for a certain scene, I'd listen to a song that'd give me energy, or I'd have to be emotional, I'd listen to an emotional song. So it really depends on the scene.
What about you, Nykiya? Was there a song or a specific scene that helped kind of set the mood for, through music?
Not necessarily. Like being Bailey, that I could just switch in and out of character so fast. So like when music would play, it would help, but like I could just switch in and out. I can just switch from moods like really quickly. So it was just very easy for me.
Absolutely. I was curious because this is both of your acting debuts in a feature film. Did you know that this was your feature film debuts for each other? And was there anything that you observed from each other's work that really helped you get into character, or just something that you noticed that the other actor delivered in a scene that maybe wasn't even in the script?
To be honest, I met Nykiya on the first day shooting. So I literally met her then and there, and we had to start shooting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then we just like it wasn't even like it took us time to get used to each other. We just became like friends.
Just clicked.
Just related so
Really?
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, the performances, Bailey and Hunter, it's a natural brother sister kind of feeling in the film, and to hear that, that's even more fascinating. And I was curious, were you given any notes in the pre-production phase or any time to rehearse beforehand?
No rehearsal at all.
He wasn't really acting. He was just reacting to the way things happened.
Yeah.
So
Can you take me through the casting phase? Because you have Andrea Arnold, who I think is one of the great filmmakers, and she's worked with so many of her co-collaborators over the years, one of which is Lucy Pardee. What was the audition process like, and did you have any notes or material to work off of?
So basically, Lucy came around schools around London and around Essex, and basically chose chose kids that suited a role, who looked like they could suit a role. And after that, they'd get to know us a lot. And then if they liked us, they'd be filming us in this process as well. And where was I?
he did like to.
Yeah. Then we'd start auditioning, and they'd give us a situation. For example, my situation was what was it? I was someone, yeah. And for example, Coral, another casting director, had to give me my money. So I had to like kind of pressure her to give me my money. So basically, we was just in school auditioning a lot. And then I met Andrea, and she really liked me. And initially, I was supposed to be casted as a gang member in the Hunters gang. And then I met Andrea, and she gave me Hunters role.
Did she say why she changed the role for you? Because that, I mean, Hunter is such an important integral part to this film.
Mm, no, not really. But after I auditioned for the gang member role, obviously I started auditioning for the boyfriend role. That's what it's called, obviously. Auditioning with girls and talking to them, and Andrea kind of found a connection between me and the girls, and whoever had the best connection would basically have the part.
What about Unica? Because I mean, this is your movie. Bailey is an incredible character in this film. What was it like working with Lucy Pardee in terms of the audition process?
So basically, he was in school and they went to the drama department and I was like, "Do you have anyone?" And they recommended my sister, and they were like, "Oh, she's too old." So then they were like, "We have a little sister." So they were trying to find me, and there was a massive group of people in my school. And I just walked through the crowd and all of them parted. And Lucy came up to me. She was like, "Do you want to come to this workshop kind of thing on Thursday?" I was like, "Yeah, why not? It gets me out of school and all my friends are doing it." So at first it was all a joke. And then I got callbacks. I was like, "Oh, this is getting quite serious now." And you get more and more serious until it down to the last two. And when I found out I got the part, I was just so excited. I was so thrilled.
Whilst we're on this
Was
subject, I just
Yeah.
have to say, when I got a note that I have to go in the PAC, Performance Arts Centre, where Lucy was waiting for us, a teacher was waiting outside the PAC for us and just like, welcoming us or something. And I wasn't really in the mood that day, so I went up to that teacher and I went, "Can I just not do it?" So imagine if she let me go back to class because I asked to go back to class and she was like, "No, just stay. Let's just see what happens." I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't. Nothing. This wouldn't have happened to me.
That's amazing. Well, both situations in terms of, how it comes together and sometimes it's serendipitous and other times, it just kind of falls into place. And I was curious about that as well because what I love about Andrea Arnold's movies is that they come together in a way that you're not quite sure how they're going to unfold until really the end credits. What was your initial reaction to the final film the first time you saw it?
I was amazed. Like I wouldn't think it would look like that because like from the scenes I was just like, oh, I didn't think I'd done my best in that scene, but they used the scene and it just looked so realistic. Like seeing myself on the screen for the first time ever, it was just like I was just amazed. Like the way Andrea works is just so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seeing
it's
myself.
incredible the camera work as well, right? Like the way that like Robbie Ryan's camera kind of gets right into the situation and into the space of the characters. But Jason, yes, as you were saying.
What was I gonna say? Oh, seeing myself for the first time on screen. I remember we was in ADR doing ADR in London, and I saw myself on some big screen. I was scared. I was genuinely scared because I did not like it at first, and then obviously I saw the movie in Cannes, and I got really emotional. Didn't I?
Yes.
Got really emotional because I was really, and I still am really connected to the film, and yeah.
Do you remember the scene that you saw that you were watching in that moment?
It wasn't even a scene, it was just a whole movie and just multiple waves of nostalgia that really got me emotional.
When you're working with a cinematographer like Robbie Ryan, I'm curious because there's an aspect of this movie that feels like it's made not only by Andrea Arnold, even at the end of the credits, it says a film by, and you see all the credits of the people that worked on this movie. Did the two of you feel as though you were documentary filmmakers in your own right, shooting on iPhones? And were you given any direction in terms of what footage you would capture yourselves for the film?
We had phones, like they tell us like we had obviously phones for the film.
Plus,
They'll say to us, "Oh, like I got told to record anything on there, so if like a bug landed on me or anything, I'll just take a picture." And in the end, like in the credits, you can see like a clip that I recorded of butterflies and stuff like that at the end.
yeah, yeah, we all had our personal phones. So Moon had, Bailey had, I had our personal phones and basically told us just film whatever you want on it. It's yours, obviously on set. And even in the trailer, in certain parts in the trailer, if you watched it, you can see me dancing. And that was Bailey filming Hunter just dance with the mask on. So yeah,
Oh, the
see her.
clown mask, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, the props and the attention to detail is so important. Was there anything that you added in terms of writing on the wall in the house, or were there any props that you gravitated towards that helped you get into character, or something that you found like really reflected who Bailey and Hunter were?
Only thing I can think about is a beer can. So there was a beer can in our room in Hunter's and Bailey's room. And I just asked them to fill it with water. 'Cause obviously I can't drink beer, can I? So I was just drinking beer in that scene.
What about you, Nakaya?
It wasn't really like a prop. It was more of a costume. They gave me this red tracksuit. It wasn't a tracksuit. It had shorts. It was that kind of a tracksuit. And anytime I see that style of tracksuit, it just reminds me of Bailey. Like especially when I get my hair braided, when it goes to the, I used to have in the film, I had two braids going to the side. It just reminds me of Bailey so much. Whenever I get my hair plaited, it just gives me like just flashbacks to the film.
Yeah, and in the movie, I have some red shoes on some red and black shoes. Those are actually my shoes. I still have them to this day.
Now, you talked early on about shooting animals, bugs, and things like that. I was curious about there's a sequence in this movie where I believe it's either a crow or a raven
Yeah.
takes a note. Can you talk about the process of working on that scene and how many times it took to shoot that? Because it was
Um,
seamless.
I think it was like three, like between one or three takes. I was scared at first, like I don't want to do this, like, just let it do it. So I just held my arm out, stayed really calm, and then the crow just put his trust in me and just landed on my arm and flew up. Nothing, like all of it was real. It was just crazy. I was shocked.
It's amazing. Like it's one of those shots where like it feels, obviously there's a magical realism aspect to it all, and almost weirdly a superhero kind of quality to the bird character, to Franz Rogowski's character. I was curious about how you felt working with actors like Barry Keoghan and Franz Rogowski, who also are very much in a stage in their career where I think an international audience is finally discovering them as actors. What was it like to work with them, in a movie that I think, you get a chance to improvise and be in the moment?
I think Andrea's way of working, like when she got Barry, Barry wasn't like known, but he was at the same time. And obviously Saltburn come out, like she got him in the nick of time. Like it was perfect timing. So then Barry became this big star, and then now they've realised that but he's in Birds. Now Birds getting big. And I think she's caught me in the nick of time, and I think it's just perfect timing. And I just think that working with Barry and Franz and Jasmine was like a wonderful experience, and I would do anything to do it again.
Absolutely. And even the way that there's a reference in this film to Murder on the Dance Floor,
Yeah.
I thought that that was kind of amazing as well, just in terms of how it comes together. But even hearing stories that Barry Keoghan turned down Gladiator 2 to make this movie because he believed so much in the project is incredible to consider, because Andrea Arnold is such an amazing filmmaker. Did you either of you have time to watch any of Andrea Arnold's other movies to prepare, or just to have a sense of maybe what she would be like to work with?
I watched American Honey with my parents actually, but I didn't watch it before Making Bird. I watched it after Making Bird, and that reminded me of the way Andrew works. And it's genuinely a beautiful thing. It shocks me, amazes me.
Absolutely. What about you, Nakaya?
My mum watched Carol before we even knew Andrea Arnold. So when we found out who she was, my mum was starstruck on the way home. She was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was just like, "What, mum? What?" I just didn't know anything, but I didn't want to watch one of her films and then think I've got to be that certain way for her to like actually cast me. So I just kept to myself and just fought to be myself and got me here.
Yeah, and it's amazing work. Like the two performances that you give, both of you, is wonderful. So I was curious to, in terms of wrapping this up, what's your biggest takeaway from your experience in making Bird, and is it something that you're going to take into the next one in terms of what you have in terms of expectations?
Obviously, we went in there clueless. We had no idea what to expect, and we handled it excellently. We couldn't have handled it better. And I think we learned a lot of things, talking and acting wise, we learned a lot of things. But I think discipline wise and behavior wise, I think it was perfect.
Was there a specific behavior or sort of moment in the film or in the process in the making of the movie that you felt really kind of gave an idea of what the film was? Because again, like it feels like this is a movie that is continually changing and evolving, and it's not just simply one thing.
Um, I don't know, it's like the thing that made me realize like it's a weird film was when I saw Bird being actually a bird. It was just like it was just crazy how Andrea thinks. It's just like how she put it in the script and how she made the plot twist go. It was just amazing. I think she thought of it very wise. She's very smart when she played that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because the first time that I watched this, this might sound a little silly. I honestly thought that this was almost like her version of The Crow in a weird way, where you have, this character that comes into a situation where he's most needed, and at the same time he also has a bird-like companion, and there's a vigilante component to the narrative. So it reminded me a little bit of almost like Andrew Arnold's superhero movie in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, I really want to take this moment to thank the both of you for doing this. It was wonderful getting to talk
Thank
to
you.
both
Been
of
a
you,
pleasure.
and
Thank you so
also
much.
just learning about the process. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.